Hi, you're a very quiet group. Rochelle, unmute yourself. Start introducing yourselves. Diane, could you introduce yourself? Yeah, this is what we're doing.
Okay, my name's Diane again. I'm about 7 years old, living in South Dudley, which is a country town near Wonthaggi in Melbourne. This is my very first time onto university life, so I'm a bit nervous and scared, but I'm sure with all my help from Cecilia and the students, I'll be fine.
I'm sure you will too. Laura.
Hello. Hi. Good. I accidentally just spiel on mute, but essentially it's we're just saying that me and Lyndall actually know each other because we're business partners.
Oh, awesome.
So we're in Melbourne at the moment.
Yeah.
And currently facing the full lockdown, and because we're in hospitality, we're a bit bored. So trying to use this opportunity now to just learn what we can, which is really great.
That's an awesome thing to do. Anything else to say, Lyndall?
Being in Melbourne right now really sucks. And
I bet.
Our restaurant that we own has been closed since March, which just sucks. And we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So it is good that we're trying to do something beneficial with that time. We're both very interested in fermentation.
Oh, wonderful. So you'll be able to do an extension of where your industry was. Yeah. And something that doesn't need to close down. If it closes down, you can keep on working.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Brendan.
G'day, I'm Brendan. Born in Queensland, Townsville, and moved down to Tassie about, I think, 8-10 years ago. I only finished Hellier College last year, so this is like the first year of uni.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I hope to learn more about business and all that.
Wonderful, Brendan. We'll give you a lot of help. Kathy.
Hi. I live in Western Sydney. I'm actually working full-time and attempting to do this as well.
Oh, you wonderful person. How many units are you doing?
Two.
Oh, you're crazy. But we will give you all the help we can.
We're working from home, so
right. Yeah.
Do extra things. Can't really go anywhere.
Yep, absolutely. So you're doing similarly to Laura and Lyndall, taking this opportunity, and Diane, taking this shutdown opportunity to upskill. Right.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yep. And Rochelle, you can do yours now. I've just got to leave this. Cleven. Hi, Cleven. Why didn't you join a group? Did you pop out for a second? Hi, Cleven. Hello. Hello, Cleven. Now, what are we going to do? Right, you're all coming back again. So have you got to know some of your fellow students?
I have. I've forgotten their names already.
But we will continue working and doing breakout activities so that you can actually get to know other people and to be able to do things with them. Oh, there's 2 breakout rooms that haven't come back. Ah, they're coming now. Yes.
Okay, we've joined.
Right. Now, today we're going to do several things. We're going to find out more from Mel about the experiential education team and their support of you. Then we're going to have a look at the unit outline so that you know and understand what the requirements are through the term. And we'll note the key dates in that. We will then discuss assessment task 1 and show you that and talk to you about the unit engagement task activity. And then we are going to do an activity where we develop questions for the workshop, because in week 3, in 2 weeks' time, you will be having a workshop, and at that workshop there will be an industry panel of leaders to whom you can ask questions and discuss things. And we'll take you through the process of doing that. But now I'll hand over to Mel. Mel, would you like to share your screen and have a talk to the students?
Yep, thanks.
Can the rest of you mute your mics so that you will be able to hear what Mel says?
Alrighty, are we seeing the screen
perfectly?
Excellent. Alrighty, so welcome to University College Associate Degrees. So my job today as your experiential education academic coach is to not only welcome you to our virtual classroom, because that's how I like to see it. It's as soon as you log into your Zoom room link, this is like walking through the door when you're face-to-face on campus. And so we need to get to know this virtual classroom space really well. So part of my job today is to get you to feel comfortable in this space. You'll find within a couple of weeks, you'll be old hats at working the systems and building what we like to call your digital dexterity, which is a really sought after skill by employers. And by digital dexterity, I mean using things like Zoom, working in online sites, and it's using the digital tools. So by the end of this short segment, we're going to look at who we are, the experiential education academic coaches. I'm going to show you where to locate our non-award Milo unit, which will be a really important component of your online support that you'll be able to tap into at any time across your associate degree. And I'm also going to show you a really good resource called our Practitioner Skills and Development Library, which we refer to as the bookcase. So all about us at the moment in regards to who we are and what roles we play. I come from a team of 5, so there's 5 experiential academic coaches. I have our team manager, or our course coordinator, is Dr. Sherry Hawkins. I work with Dr. Christine Angel, Sherry and myself from the Cradle Coast space, but we travel when we can, back before COVID days, around state to work with staff and students. We also have lovely Jen Kemp-Smith. She's our online guru. So she works actually from the Gold Coast. She used to live in Hobart, but we've kept her on because she is a very important integral part of our team in regards to online support and Pebble Pad. And if some of these terms don't feel familiar or seem familiar, they will. Stay tuned. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be dropping in and out of your sessions and upskilling you in these particular areas and working through these terminologies with you, so it'll become part of your new language. We also have lovely Rob Lewis, who works out of Launceston, and Dr. Anna Lobo, who works out of Hobart. So that makes up our team. So what we do as academic coaches is our role is to support your learning, but we also work very closely with your unit coordinators like Stephen and like Cecilia and like Robin that you'll meet within the science realm, and the tutors and the staff in amongst the University College. And the way in which we support students is by helping you understand the complexities that is involved with experiential education, which is already embedded into your learning. Because here at the University College, we put experience first, and we look at the experience and what you need to gain in regards to skills, attributes, academic skills as the practitioner in this space. So you'll hear yourself quite often referred to as the practitioner, and that is you working in the experiential education learning space, and you'll take your practitioner skills into the workplace and into your personal life as well. You'll find some of these skills are interchangeable. So we come in and out of your classes, we run workshops and short tutorial segments that will help embed the experiential learning components like reflective practice, like putting together your practice manual, and basically we help you live, learn and do within this space. Across your degree, you will learn how to use your Milo site, but not only that, you will also learn how to tap into the PebblePad online learning tool. And next week, so here's my hook for you to come along next week. Next week, we'll be looking more intensely at what is PebblePad and what it can do for you in that space. So just hold on to that word and that terminology, and we're going to unpack that really nicely next week. If at any stage you need to contact us, if you need some support with your reflective writing, with your use of the bookcase, which I'm about to show you, or accessing specific resources that we provide to support your experiential learning, we also provide, oh, sorry about that. Oh my God. That's the gift that keep giving and ringing. Nobody ever rings me at this time of day. Anyhow, so we actually have a couple of ways in which you can contact us. So the first port of call is through our email site. And then the second port of call is through our Practice and Portfolio Coach support discussion board forum, which I'm about to show you. So not only are we here to support your learning with a huge amount of resources, we also do a number of face-to-face resources. So let's now go into your virtual classroom space, and I want to showcase our practice and academic toolbox, where you will find your PebblePad link and where you will find the link to our lovely bookcase resource. So I'm just going to change screens, so bear with me as we jump into where you can find us. So like all units, if you go into your Milo unit site and go into Milo, you will find our Practice and Portfolio academic toolbox. Now I've got it pinned to my homepage. So if you haven't got access to that unit, it might be that you need to go to your waffle menu, and in your waffle menu, if you simply just type the word practice, oh, can't type it, practice, and a search will bring Practice and Academic Toolbox up. If you just simply pin that particular non-award unit to your homepage, it will mean that you'll find it easily next time round. So what that does is that's pinned that now to my homepage and brought it into this space. And as you can see, I'm across a number of units. You probably in one sitting will have about 2 or 3 units sitting in this space. So once you go into our Practice and Academic Toolbox, this is your virtual home for your experiential education resource bank. Now, what we like to recommend for you to do is that you tap into this particular resource every time you go into your what we call discipline units, because we every week have a dedicated space where we will showcase particular tools that may be of use at strategic times across the term, and or give you some handy hints and tricks that will support your learning within your degree. So this week already we've got a study planner that you, if you click on the link, that will bring up a lovely planner for you that you can use to look at your degree for the term and see where your assessments are due. You can fill it in. It's a Word document, so you can print it off and handwrite it, or you can do it electronically. So that's one part of what we do. Another part is we support your learning in the content area. Now, our unit is a non-award unit, which means we're not going to assess you in this unit. You don't need to upload assessment tasks to this unit. But what it does, it's like a library of resources. So it supports your learning. So anytime you can walk through our door and have a look at the library set of resources. In the search part of every Milo unit, this is a really handy tip. When your units start getting very long, and by about week 6 or 7, there's a lot to find in content. If you simply type in a keyword, you will find that it automatically brings you to the space that you're looking for. As long as you can spell and as long as you can pick out the keyword, a bit like a Google search, it will allow you to use this content area in your Milo units very efficiently and quickly. You can also go to your table of contents, of course, which will then bring up every unit. A quick handy tip is this little accordion button opens and shuts. I tend to, when I work in Milo units, tend to only open what I need at the time. Otherwise, again, it's a really big scroll to find information, but also to, you lose your way very easily. So I tend to go, I'm currently working in the bookcase, I'm staying in that space. Now, in our bookcase, we have developed as a team, as your academic coaches, a number of resources that you'll come across in the modules you'll work with in your particular fields of study, and sometimes you'll receive those links in the actual embedded modules that you're working for in your own particular unit subject, and sometimes you can come back into our library through our Milo unit and locate these resources through our bookcase. Now, the beauty of the library is that you have access to this library of resources all year round. We do shut down just a little bit over December when we tidy up the bookshelves and update any resources, but it's also a living space, so we're constantly adding and adjusting and updating these resources, so we advertise that quite often through our announcements. The bookcase is great because you can click on any resource. So something that I will highlight is if you weren't able to make it to UCommence, it's really nice to have a quick look in the bookcase and have a look at our University College module. And as you can see, it gives you a blurb, just like a book in the library. When you pull that book out and look at the back, you'll see what the book's all about. And if you click view, it will open that book in a new space. The beauty about it opening in a new tab is that you can very easily click between your tabs above and find the information. Now, most of our modules and most of our books in the bookcase, and I'm saying our now because these modules type style of how we present our work at University College online is very interactive, and it's very online and user friendly. So quite often you'll find a menu across the top. So whenever you're tapping in and out of these resources and opening one of the books or opening one of the modules, you don't have to scroll all the way through. You can simply find the topic you like and click on the top tab, and it will automatically take you to the space where you're in. So my homework for you this week is to jump into our Milo site and have a little play in the bookcase. So like I said, using the bookcase and having a look through and seeing what's there. I also advise you to go into our UCommence module. So if you weren't able to, or even if you did join our UCommence team for orientation last week and the week before, we had a couple of sessions. This book I highly recommend because again, it has some really nice tips for you to get you started, to get you familiarising yourself back into this education learning space. So 2 things. Have a look at our Milo unit this week and have a play, open and close the buttons, have a look around. In our communications section, if you click on discussions, that's where you will find our peer mentor forum and our communications forum. And you're very welcome to post a comment there. Remembering this is an open forum, so this will go out to all students that are enrolled in associate degrees. So it's not a private space. If you need to have a private conversation with one of the coaches, please definitely use our email address, and you're welcome to contact us in that space anytime. So there's our email address there. So thanks, Cecilia, and lovely to meet you all, team.
Thanks, Mel. Is it okay if I upload this
Absolutely.
PowerPoint for the students?
Yep, absolutely.
So I will upload this PowerPoint to the Milo unit, Module 1, and below Module 1 there is tutorial materials. I will put it into that folder and you will be able to go through it this week and find out, repeat and refresh your memory on what Mel has told you. So thank you very much, Mel.
Cecilia, sorry, I didn't ask the team if they have any questions. If you look on your screen, there's a little reactions bar. I'm quite happy if you've got a thumbs up, if you, or a hand which says clap. But is there any questions before I pass back? Yes, I will take.
Amanda, can you unmute and say your question? No, you've got no question. Oh,
okay.
Oh, do you have a question? No, anybody?
You were just saying thumbs up, you're happy with what's going on?
Everyone's happy, I think, yes.
Thanks for that. Over the page. Yep. So have fun, have a play in your virtual classroom. The more you play, the more you walk through that space and open that door, the easier you'll find your transition into your online learning space is. There's an awful lot of information. You don't need to know it off by heart. It's there for you to tap in and use and access when you can and when you need to. So thanks, Cecilia.
Thank you. Right, we're now going to go through the unit outline with you. So I'll just open it up and then I'll share it screens with you. The unit outline is on the home page of the unit. Have most of you had a look at that?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Well, you'll be able to now. Can you see it?
Yep.
Good. So this is a combined unit with contemporary business environments from the applied business, agribusiness management, and the introduction to industry from applied science. The second page gives you the contact details of all the key people who could help you in any questions you may have. So if you are an agribusiness student, you would probably contact Stephen Ives in the first instance to ask something, or Nathan Backer. If you are an applied business student, you can contact me. I work full-time, so I'm able to help you. And Robin Barnes will help the people in applied science. So you have the contact details there to be able to speak to people, and you have Mel Finnans, who is your academic coach. So in this unit, we're trying to show you how your industry fits in with business today and fits in with all other industries. So we start the unit looking at your industry, and then we gradually, or an industry that you would like to work in, and then we gradually focus into the businesses within the industry. So we start and we look at all of the challenges and opportunities that are facing industry. This term in particular, we will be looking at some of the challenges that COVID-19 has impacted on industry, but there are many more, like technology, globalization. So there are a lot of things that impact on business. In your unit outline, you have the intended learning outcomes. These are the outcomes that you are planning to achieve by the end of the unit. And your assessment task will be testing you against these. So we have 4 for this particular unit. Identify and describe key features, practices, and processes of selected businesses and industries. The first one. The second is Discuss and analyze contemporary and emerging challenges and opportunities in selected businesses and industries. The third one is identify and reflect on your own interests, abilities, and goals in conjunction with a range of industry relevant practitioner roles, skills, and knowledge. And that's a little bit of what Melissa's been talking to you about. So we're looking at industry and we're looking at how you can fit into your chosen industries. What skills you have now, what else you want to achieve to be able to do that. And the last one is apply discipline, knowledge, and practice-based skills and knowledge to communicate an initiative for organizational change. So that's where you will get to by the end of the term. You have 2 engagement tasks that are located in Module 1. So the first one, and they need to be done by August the 3rd. The first one is to introduce yourself on a welcome board, outline your background, and write why you are studying. It only needs to be about 2 sentences. This task is not assessed, but it helps us to understand that you can navigate your way around the technology that we are providing for you to learn. And the second one is a unit outline declaration. This is to say that you have read the unit outline and you know and understand the key things, the key requirements that are within the unit outline. Once again, it's a very, very simple thing to do. Your first assessment task I will talk to you about in detail in a moment and show you the description of it, but it is to conduct an industry scan. And you will select the industry in which you are studying, or the industry you are working in, or an industry that you would like to work in. And you look at it, research the industry, not just a business within the industry, but the whole industry. And research it in a certain area, and then compare. It might be, for the people in Victoria, it might be the region around in which you live, or it might be all of Melbourne, or it could be all of Victoria, depending on what the industry is. And then compare it with the way the industry operates in another area. So you might be comparing Victoria with New South Wales, or you might be comparing Northern Tasmania with Australia as a whole. So you can choose what parts of the industry you look at first, but make sure it's a local, regional, or state-based idea that you do first, and then compare it with another area. So for this week, you will start to do that research. That's the first one. And then you create an infographic, which I'll show you later. The second one is an experiential report, and this comes after we have done the workshop. You will be provided with some activities on Milo to undertake so that you can go to businesses or experience businesses or have case studies of businesses within your industry sectors. You will also at the workshop meet with leading industry practitioners in an industry discussion panel. And this morning we will start developing the questions that you would like to ask the people within that panel. And you will use those 2 experiences to write your second assessment. You will also conduct a skills audit, a personal skills audit, and develop a professional development plan for yourself. And this will also be a component of this particular assessment task. So you're looking at your industry and looking at practitioners working within the industry, seeing what is common threads between different industries, and then seeing where you fit in to that industry. That's the second one. And the final assessment task is drilling down to an enterprise within your industry. So you will select a business within your industry and you will have a look at it, and you will identify an opportunity or a problem that it currently has, and you will implement a change to exploit that opportunity or to improve the problem that it has. And so you'll do that. You'll be provided with a template PowerPoint, and you will prepare a PowerPoint and deliver a presentation discussing this. And this will be to 2 of your teachers. So it may be we will be doing them online. It may be you and Mel and me, or you and Stephen and Mel. It could be anyone in your teachers. It's a very, this is your first presentation, so it's a gentle, friendly, interactive presentation with a lot of support for you. So they're your assessment tasks. We will now go to the workshop. Is going to be held on Wednesday, the 5th of August. It may need to start before 10 o'clock. It might start around 9 o'clock because there's a clash with a couple of things that are happening on that day. I will give you the program of that before the tutorial next week. So you will know who your guest speakers are going to be at the industry panel, and you will know what the requirements for the day are. You won't need to continuously sit on your computer for 6 hours. We will have a session, then you will have a break. So you'll probably be working for about an hour at a time in groups and doing different activities, and then you will have a break. And then you will come back, then you'll have lunch, and then you'll come back and have the industry forum, and we'll do a little bit of debriefing after that. It should be a highly interactive and fun day for you. And at the end of the unit outline is the schedule of weekly topics that we are going to cover this term. So have a good look through the unit outline, and if you have any questions, you are welcome to email or phone us and ask us about them, or you can bring them to your next tutorial and we will answer them there. I'm also trying to set up some small group meetings for you next Monday, and we'll be putting out a doodle poll for you to select a time, just so that I can meet you in small groups of 3 or 4 students at a time to find out from you what you need and want out of this unit. So I will be putting that up either later today or early tomorrow, and you will need to go onto Milo and register a time that you would like to do that. So that will be next Monday, so that I get to know you all a lot better by the tutorials next week. Are there any questions about the unit outline? Not at all? Right, I'll stop sharing that and we will go into the assessment task 1. Stop sharing, and now I will start sharing again. Can you see the home page of the unit?
Sure can.
Yep, great. So we'll go into content. And we'll go down in content to assignments. Assignment task 1. And we'll just have a look at that in detail. This is the industry scan. So in this assessment task, you will undertake an industry scan of your unit or of an industry of your industry or an industry of your choice. If you are having any problems with that, contact us and we'll help you select an industry. So if you aren't quite sure what to do, certainly you can talk to me either at the one-on-one meeting on Monday, or you can contact me about it. This will be presented in an infographic poster using images with explanatory notes. Examples will be provided for you during the tutorial session. I'll show you a couple of examples today, and you have other examples in this particular folder that you can have a look at. And it's linked to your first two ILOs. Identify and describe key features, practices and processes of selected businesses and industries, and discuss and analyze contemporary and emerging challenges and opportunities in selected businesses and industries. And you will be, the criteria are: use data and information to review and define an industry specialization, compare key industry features, and communicate and document effectively. Document effectively as a university student means that you will also be able to use referencing in an accurate way. So any sources that you research and look up, you will need to reference, and you can put your reference list in separately from your infographic. I have put a copy of Harvard Referencing Style Guide into this particular folder so that you can use that to help you work out your references. And we will also put up a referencing module for you in week 3, so you can go through that and check that you have got your referencing correct. And this assessment forms 20% of your final mark. An industry scan is an environmental scan, is a review of the external trends, opportunities, or threats that can impact on an industry. To complete your industry scan, you will identify and review your industry specialization in a region or a local context. And the following questions may be useful as a guide to help you review your industry. So there's 6 of those. What is your industry specialization and your special interest within this specialization? But the next 5 of them are really good to use as a guide for developing your infographic. So identify the scope of the industry. That's how big it is, what it does. What is the value of the industry in your region, in the region that you are identifying? How many jobs are there within the industry? And what are the range of businesses within the industry? And where are the businesses within the industry? Where are they? How do they operate? What do they do? And compare. So after you've researched your own industry in the region you have stipulated, then you compare that region, local industry, to a national or international industry or another state, just as long as you do that comparison. The 2 lots of research, the 2 lots of comparison. So lay it out on an A3 page so that you have enough room to do your infographic and compare it. And you will have approximately 300 words in infographics. So put little explanation dot points or a sentence to describe what you're saying under your infographics. And I will show you some examples of that in a moment. Next week at the tutorial, we will go through Canva, and that will help you in designing and developing your infographics. So the day that you need to submit this is by the 10th of August. Wait, where is it? Yes, Monday the 10th of August at 3 o'clock. And we need you to have it in by the due date so that we can mark it and give you some good formative feedback before you submit assessment task 2. It's important that you are able to get that feedback, and we will need the time with 122 students to be able to mark it and get it back to you. If for any reason you find that you can't do it by then, if you're sick or something else, please let me know before the date so that I am able to grant you an extension. Okay?
Can I just add something, Cecilia,
Yes, certainly,
if that's okay?
Stephen. Yeah, absolutely.
So the word infographic is really just a joining of two words of information graphic. And it's a fancy way of saying a poster. So really, it's about just designing a poster. And whilst we're going to go through Canva, which is a program that is useful in creating posters, it's not the only program. For those familiar with PowerPoint, Publisher, anything that actually you're familiar with, Canva is just providing you another tool to use, because there's quite a lot of preset graphics that are not just the same as word art, or which sometimes can be quite cheesy, and you've got to be careful doing an industry assessment. And if you show someone from industry, they're going to look at those graphics and think, oh, that's a bit like, so cartoonish. You've got to be a little bit careful about how you do that. So again, really just reinforcing that it's a poster, and that there are various programs you can use to do that. And we're going to show you one of those that you may not have come across before. So, yeah.
That's great. Thanks for clarifying that, Stephen. Now we will mark you against the rubric that is at the bottom of this assessment task. So if you want to get a high distinction, you can see the criteria against which we're going to mark you. So you can actually create your poster and then go to this rubric and see where it lands. See what kind of mark you will get. You can self-assess before you submit it. I won't go through all of those today, but it shows you what standard you would need to be to get a high distinction. That's between 80 and 100. A distinction, what standard you would need to be between 70 and 80. A credit is between 60 and 70. A pass is 50 and 60. And then a failure is beyond that, doing insufficient thing. The other thing I would urge you to do, and that is to proofread before you submit your assessment task. And proofread it in two different ways. So you need to do it twice. One is to check that your spelling and grammar is correct, because on a poster, it looks dreadful if you've made spelling mistakes. The other one is to go through the assessment task again and make sure you have answered every part of it. So they're the two important proofreading and checking things to do. Remember to also upload a list of your references in Harvard Referencing Style Guide. Are there any questions about that assessment task at this stage? No.
Cecilia?
Yes.
Something, a handy tip. I'm full of handy tips.
Thanks, Mel.
Something that's really handy, especially when you're doing like a poster, is doing, if you can, a printout version, a black and white printout version, so it's not taking all your ink, because when you look at the printout version of your poster, it's very easy to pick. Sometimes your spelling mistakes then on the screen, but it's also very easy to pick where your layout and format might be jumbled, where you might need to give a bit more white space, and how you're communicating that information, because your poster is one of your communication tools, communicating information across the page to your particular reader. So that's something that I always tell my students when they're using infographics, is to always have a look at their printed version and their proofreading time, and do give yourself time, because even though it's a poster, you will need time to research. You will need time to look at what information and key information you're going to put into that, and then do your first draft of your poster, have a little proofread, and that does take time. And a poster, when you're proofreading and having to move things around, is time consuming. So that nice little handy planner that I showed you before is a great way to put your assessment task in. I give myself a contingency when planning. So I put 1 or 2 days before the deadline and say, look, I'm going to make that a soft landing submission time, because then you've got 2 days, you know, contingency. What happens if my computer's not working? What happens if I am not feeling well? What happens if life interferes or work interferes with my study? So, and that way then you're not burning the midnight oil and stressing yourself, hopefully, as best as you can, because the stress levels always go up as closer to deadlines. But yeah, they're my handy tips for today.
Thank you. Now I will share the screen and just show you one example of that a student did for us before and has given permission for me to share. So can you see this one? In this particular, you've got it there, everyone? See it? Yep. In this particular one, the student compared local government with government within Tasmania, with local government within Tasmania. So they went through, and the first one was classification into 5 classifications of our local government. The second part was comparing the Tasmanian, the rate revenue, rateable properties, population, and average rates per property between the Meander Valley Council and Tasmania. And then the student compared where the money goes to, where it comes from, and where it goes to within a council region. So that's one that shows you some of those examples. Have you got, I do have several others that students have given permission for us to share, and I will be putting those, they've only come in the last day, I'll put those into this folder for you as well. Have you got any comments at this stage, Stephen?
No, Cecilia, that's good to have an example like that, particularly ones that students have done previously. I think it's helpful. There are a couple of others that are on the site. They're quite complicated, but it does show you how industry actually use this as well. One of the things that, and Mel pointed that out, one of the things that you need to be mindful of is that anyone will read your poster, and so it's got to be clear enough for people that aren't in the know to actually understand what you're talking about. So it's making it clear enough for people to say, oh yeah, okay, I get what it is. I don't fully understand the topic, but I get what you're saying. And that's really what, yeah. So the logistics example and the wine example that Cecilia just showed on that.
Yep, that are there, and I've got the local government one there. I will just now show you the last thing we're going to do today. And that's the collaboration activity. Now oh yes, we've got the new one here. So in week, I will share this with you in a moment.
While you're preparing that, Cecilia, I just wanted just something that's that will be helpful for us moving forward over the next few weeks, and also just to provide you with a few extra skills on how we're using Zoom. You have an opportunity in Zoom to change your name to something that we recognise, of course. But when your name comes up on and everybody's name comes up on the windows, they come up with and might be just a shortened version of your name, or it might even come up with the device that you're working on. There are ways of actually changing that, but what I'd like for us to do is to help us each week when we break into groups. It would be good to actually know what area you're studying. So what I'm suggesting is that we'll just try this for the moment. So if everyone can click on the, actually, would wait till Cecilia does this.
Oh, no, that's
first.
okay. Do it. I can stop sharing.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah,
that's
I'll
fine.
just, where is my, oh, it's still coming up. I can't get to the stop sharing. Perhaps you can go in and stop sharing that, Stephen. Oh, wait on. Now I've got it.
Yeah,
You've done it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep.
So if everyone goes to the bottom of the screen, or where there's this thing that says participants, and if you actually press on participants, or click on participants, and up will come a participant list. Then you can hover over your name, and on the right-hand side, and there's a little button that says more. And in more, you can actually change your name. So I'll just change my name. And up will come, and you'll notice my name's changed. Okay, so what I'd encourage you to do is to go in and find that, but to help us to work you into tutorial groups and where we have discussion groups, because you're all studying different things. So what I would actually do, I can rename mine to Ag Steve.
That would
okay, so applied business, and I'll I can't do Cecilia's, but you can do your own. And so for Cecilia, she might put AB.
Yeah, and if you're
AB
applied
Cecilia,
science, yeah,
and if you put AS. So I just encourage you for the next, if you can do that in the, oh, Kelsey's into it. Great.
Yeah, do it now, because we're going to,
now,
yeah, we're going to break you up into groups. So do it now.
So AT is applied technology? No, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Excellent. That's great, because that will actually help us to then be able to find when we do break off into groups. And so when you log on for your tutorials, it might be now that we actually, this is what comes up now from now on as we do it. But it's something that as we prepare for the tutorials each week, that might be just something that we do.
Yeah.
So Patrick's fermented, so that's good. Excellent. All right. So yep. And for those that in the undergrad cert, great. But there's a particular area that you're in with the undergrad cert as well. So depending on what it is. So it's science, yes. So I think undergrad cert is science, not applied science. So yep. So we're still getting our head around how things are abbreviated as well. I'm glad none of you get text messages from my mother. She still believes that every letter costs. So I get a text message and then I have to ring her up and ask her what she's talking to me about, because all these abbreviated letters, it doesn't make sense. All right, so that's great. That really helps us to be able to because we can do an automatic group to make automatic groups, or we can actually then make sure that you're actually in a group with other students that are studying a similar area. Okay, sorry, Cecilia, you can.
No, that's absolutely perfect, because we're going to have to manually put people into groups. So
yep.
This is going to help us do that.
Yep.
So we'll share the screen now, and you've got it again. So in week 3, we will have the workshop. At the workshop, we will have an industry discussion panel with representatives from all of your main areas. So we will have people who work in different components of business. We will have guest speakers who work in agriculture. We will have guest speakers who work in fermentation or in technology or in aquaculture. So we will have a variety of guest speakers, and you will need to create questions to ask them in that industry discussion panel. So for the workshop, as students, your role is to provide the questions to the panel in relation to your speciality, and we are going to start preparing those in groups today. So I've just told you what we'll be doing in week 3. Oh, he didn't change the date. The date is the 5th of August. I'll get that fixed up. So the steps are to watch the instructional video below, and we'll do that in a moment, and then brainstorm 5 to 10 questions on paper and refine them. We'll put you into groups, and you can start talking about the kinds of questions you would like industry leaders in your industry to answer for you. And we have some Padlet walls here on which you will post your questions after we put you into the breakout rooms. And then over the next week, you can continue to add questions to these Padlet walls. You can also read through the other questions that will be appearing on the Padlet wall and select the ones that you think are really good, so that we can know which questions you would prefer to be answered at the industry panel. The speakers probably won't be able to answer all the questions that we get. So some questions will be very similar from different people. So select the questions you think will be best. This is what we will be doing over the next 2 weeks. I've got the old version of this, so I'm sorry about that. Can you hear that? Can you hear this?
No, we can't.
You can't? Right. So I need to go into... Stephen, can you see the panel that we can...
Yeah, hang on, I'll see.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll see if I can actually, I'll go in and
yeah,
get
because
out of there.
My panel's not up at the moment.
Yeah, because you're looking for that tick box for the audio, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
It's in more, isn't it? Or is it up at the top?
Not sure.
Maybe if you share screen again, you know, and find it down the bottom again and tick it.
Well, like my whole panel of that sharing screen has gone. So if you can unshare me, Stephen, because you've got rights to do that.
I have.
Ah, right now.
I have all control. It's amazing.
You do. You do.
One of the few times in life.
Yeah. So if I share screen again. Now it is, it's in more, isn't it?
So one of the challenges we do have, and this is where we learn as much as you do, is that when we're changing formats and trying to deliver different things all at the same time, it can be.
I can't.
We ask for patience, I guess, to do this. So what we might do is if we everyone's been sitting in front of the screen for an hour. How about everyone get up, have a bit of a walk around for a few minutes while we work this out, and then when you come back, so give us 5 minutes. go for a bit of a walk around, get a drink, and then we'll work this out so that when you come back, we'll be able to get up and running with this video to show you the next part of it.
Celia?
Yes.
What I do is, if you go back out of your sharing screen, which I think you've done.
Yeah, I've done that.
When you hit share screen, on the left-hand side down the very bottom, there's two little tick boxes about audio that come up. So one will come up, it says share computer sound on the left-hand side, because you know when you tick share screen, is that box not coming up where you tick the share computer sound?
It didn't that time, but we will try again.
Okay, oh darn. You may have to scroll down to maybe your screen. Oh no, that just scrolls my screens. Gosh, I've got many screens open. Yeah. Did it come up this time?
Wait, I haven't got that far yet.
Oh, sorry.
In again. Tutorials. Now, here's the collaborate activity. I'll get the activity up. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
And now I've got it up. So now I will go into share screen.
Gorgeous.
And I'll go.
Oh,
it's up.
It's actually, no, it's actually before you actually share the screen. So you know when you're doing, you're one step too quick.
I'm one step too quick. Can you get me out? Oh wait, and here it is. Stop sharing.
Gorgeous.
Oh, it's still there.
Stop sharing. I know. You've got
I've got
glitches
something
today. Yeah.
I've got something really
glitchy.
Wrong.
So,
it's still there, and I've Stephen, can you please press that for me again?
Yeah.
It's just
maybe.
So
my meeting controls I'm having problem with.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about if I show it on mine? So
yeah, I think that would be. It's in Module 1 tutorial materials or tutorial resources and collaborate activity. I think that would be the best thing. So if you stop me, because I'm.
That's all right. I'll just see if it works for me first.
Yeah.
And there's a video. Go through the video.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're up to the part where the video is. I can't join my meeting.
You didn't hear that from me, did you?
No.
You didn't hear Chris's? No.
No.
Okay, so.
Not working for you either, Stephen?
I haven't tried yet.
Oh, okay.
We're just going in slowly. Won't be too long, people. We'll soon get very, very good at this.
Good. It's nice and big too, thanks, Tim.
That's all right. So
that's the question development part.
Greetings, everyone.
Beautiful.
My name is.
Wonderful.
We have the money. You're right.
Is that the one that you want, Cecilia?
Yes, that's the one with Chris speaking, because he explains how to develop the questions.
All right.
And it looks like we've got pretty well everyone back because it's 37 participants there.
Great. All right. Well, hopefully they would have stayed logged on.
Yes. So we just press start again.
Yep. I just want to make sure that we've got, yep, everyone's muted. Fantastic. All right. So here we go.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Chris Maben. This module is a primer for the question and answer panel session that we're going to be participating in. This is where industry representatives will gather for an informal discussion about industry, innovation, science, skills, employability and sustainability, among other topics. This session has been designed for students who are undertaking a number of units. I'm teaching into the Understanding Science unit, but this module is relevant to all students who will be engaging with this panel session. So by the end of this module, the purpose of this module is that, by the end of this module, you'll have an understanding of question types, including do's and don'ts of question development, or the types of questions that you'd ask people. You'll also collaborate with your student cohort to develop a suite of questions to ask the panel. Either you'll be doing that in person or via video link. Then lastly, you will have posted a list of your own questions and shared with your colleagues to the relevant Padlet wall. So the whole idea about this is that you'll be developing questions in the lead up to the week 3 panel session, and you will be voting on the most appropriate or the best questions, and they will be prioritised in that order and delivered to the panel. So the whole point of having great questions is mostly in your journey as a student, is that you ask questions to get an answer or develop a deeper understanding of something. So asking questions is probably one of the most important things in learning, even in the workplace, asking colleagues, asking people who are managers above you, or asking questions of people who are all around you, below you as well. Questions and the way you word those questions is extremely important. So a really good bit of advice is that great questions they're planned in advance. So the whole point of this module is that we're going to be workshopping these questions and trying to develop and hone them down. Good questions also encourage thinking and reasoning, and they provide the deepest of insights. So if you have a professional bunch of people sitting in front of you, we want to be asking them questions that we're going to be extracting as much useful information from them as we possibly can to then inform our own knowledge and also our view of ourselves and of the world around us. Great questions also are a joy to answer as well. Even the most basic question can be enjoyable to answer. And they should also be flexible as well. So we're going to have a quick look at what types of questions will ask for a fairly flexible response, as opposed to ones that almost railroad people into answering in a certain way. So the 4 main types of questions we're going to look at, these apply not only in say a panel situation, but also for when you are designing surveys, and you'll probably come across these if you do any kind of social research. But open-ended questions is the first type. Then we have the opposite of that, which are closed-ended questions. There are also leading questions and hypothetical questions. So there's a number of do's and don'ts that are associated with these types of questions, and I'm just going to walk you through those. So firstly, open-ended questions, they're great because what they are designed to do is to elicit meaningful answers from the respondents and allow them to have the flexibility to reveal something about their own values, their thoughts, their experience, and their knowledge. So an example of a question, well, it's not necessarily a question, but it's asking somebody to describe something. So some examples would be, describe your career path, which is always a really insightful and enjoyable thing to listen to when you have some very some experienced people sitting up in front of you. So another question will be, why did you decide to implement sustainable approaches in your business? So that question is still quite open. That can lead them to describe either the whole reasoning behind that, or they may decide to be specific and focus in on one aspect of that question. So the good thing about open-ended questions is that you're not forcing them to answer in a particular way. You are leaving the response and their way of responding open to their own, at their own leisure, I suppose. So the next type of question we're going to look at are ones that we want to try and steer clear of. So closed-ended questions are usually limited. They're limited in the response that they can give is very limited as well. And they don't really tap into the respondent's feelings, thoughts, experience and knowledge, as they usually just require a single or a short response, either yes or no. Questions might be, are you a doctor? Yes, that's the answer. Do you believe in human-induced climate change? Well, you know, that question really would be a response of either yes or no. So if you think about that, try not to come up with questions that require a very short response. The other type of question that you do not want to be, or you want to be trying to avoid, are leading questions or loaded questions. And what these questions do is they sway the respondent's answer a certain way. And normally the response will be a very biased response. You may be looking for an answer. That's not the job of someone asking a question. If you're trying to fish for a particular answer, you might ask a leading question. So the questions usually reflect the opinions of the person asking them. So an example would be you'd ask the panel member, given your climate denying stance, how do you expect your company to survive into the future? So straight away you're putting I suppose an opinion or a value within the question that the person who's responding may not be able to avoid in their answer. So try to keep the questions open-ended and avoid closed-ended and leading questions. Now, hypothetical questions, they may seem a bit far-fetched, but they're really good in bringing out people's values and their knowledge in an answer. Hypothetical questions are ones that you can ask. They are very useful and they're actually a lot of fun as well. There was a TV show I remember in the 90s where the whole show was based around asking high-profile people like prime ministers a whole bunch of hypothetical questions, and the show was called Hypotheticals. And if you can YouTube that and have a look at that, that's very entertaining. But hypothetical questions are questions that pose that are posed to the respondent, and they're usually put the respondent in a fanciful scenario. So you're asking them an open-ended question. So they can reveal interesting insights into people, as they usually in their answers they try to use as best they can their own knowledge, values and experiences in answering the question. So you might ask someone, if you were a Prime Minister of Australia, how would you approach policy A, or how would you approach climate change? Or you find a suitcase full of cash, what do you do next? So you're still leaving it very open to the answerer to decide how they'd like to answer that, but not being totally general. So I hope that has helped with understanding what kind of questions we'll be asking you to generate for the question and answer panel. What I'd like to do next is just show you what the next step is. So we'd like you to brainstorm as many questions as you possibly can. And I'm just trying to find something here. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be collaborating. I've set up a collaborate space for you all to brainstorm your questions. So it'll be a window that looks something like this. Now, depending on whether you're doing applied science, applied technology, or whatever course you're doing, there will be a window that's been created just for your discipline. So make sure that you put your questions only into the window that has been assigned to you. The other thing is that all of the disciplines, across all disciplines, everybody will be able to see each other's questions. So you can provide comments on each other's questions as well, but I'll just give you an example of how you would come up with a question. So I'm going to just get this. So, okay, I've decided I'm brainstorming, and I've decided I'm going to post, maybe 3 questions. So the first thing I do here in the Padlet window, this is a Padlet window, which you will see below you under this video in the shorthand page, is that you click on the plus sign. I've come up with a really good question. I might just type in question 1, make sure that my name's visible there. And my first question would be, what role does science play in the future of your industry? Okay, that might be one of my questions that I'm actually quite happy with that. Actually, I've got another question I want to ask, so I'll click the plus sign again, and I'll tell you why I'm doing this in separate windows in a moment. So question 2 might be, can you describe which sciences are important to your business? Okay, that is my second question. Now, the reason why I'm putting them in separate areas is because what I'd like to happen is that for everyone's brainstormed questions, your peers, and I want you to also do this, is to go around, and if you really like a question, I want you to click on the love heart. And what that love heart is I suppose it's a way of us voting for the best questions that we think we want our panel to answer. So hopefully this will take on a life of its own once it's set up and ready to go. But what my advice would be is to use a pen and paper, write down as many questions as you can think of, and then pick your best 3 or 5 questions, and then post them up to the Padlet wall so that then you can collaborate with your peers to vote for the best questions. You may also say, all right, actually, I really like CJ Mabs's question. What role does science play in the future of your industry? But I really think that question could also be improved. So I might just add a comment here and say, what role does science play in the current what future role does science currently play, and what future role does it have in progressing your industry? That could be an improvement that I'm interested in posting, and I'm not sure whether you can like that or not. But what you can then do is whoever typed that could post a new post with that question, and hopefully get a few more votes. Now, just like I said, post only in the discipline. So if you're doing applied science, there will be a window that's called Question Development Collaboration for Applied Science. And what I'd like you to do is post your questions in there. There will also be other windows. I want you to go into those windows and vote for your top 3. I suppose you could say vote for your top 3 by clicking on the love heart of 3 of the questions. And then by the time we have the panel session, we will have our prioritised questions all ready to go to ask the panel. So I hope that makes sense. If anyone has any questions about this, please email me. My email is chris.maben@utas.edu.au. So I don't think there's anything else I need to add here, so I'm going to now stop the recording, and I look forward to watching these walls take on a life of their own.
Right. So now you've had a little discussion about the creation of questions. Next, we're going to break you into breakout rooms with your industry sector, and we're going to ask you to go into the unit and go into week 1 tutorial resources and click on the collaboration activity. At the bottom of it, you will find the Padlet walls. So select the one for your industry and brainstorm with the other people in your breakout room and try to select some questions. We will give you 25 minutes to do this once we've allocated you into rooms. So do you know where you need to go? On your own computers, you go into week 1, module 1. Below that, you'll find tutorial resources for module 1, and you'll find the collaboration activity. So you can set that up while we put you into your rooms. Stephen, we'll do breakout rooms. Would you like to get the Aggie people into a room first?
Certainly. I think,
yeah.
I wonder whether...
because we'll need to do it manually, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We will. So there's, I think, yeah, so there's 38 people. I wonder whether, and there's ag, there's about 4 ag, and then there's 5 or 6 science. So, and the rest are applied business.
Maybe put ag and science together. And
I think ag, science and technology together, and then we can, and then that way, if Melissa's available, we can, each of us can have a group each that we can be working in.
Yes, I've given her rights to host rights, so she can move around.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yeah. So,
all right. Okay. So, so whilst people are finding their way to that, hopefully, if you can go to that again. Yeah. So I'll what I'll do is I'll share where you click on.
Yeah, the breakout rooms we need to change, don't we? Because they just
I'll fix them.
You'll fix those up.
I'll fix them in a minute. Yep. So this is where we're going into module 1. This is week 1. Scroll down to collaboration activity. Click on the collaboration activity, and there it is. And so we can actually scroll through that, and it gets down to the bottom, and up will come up your walls. So this is applied technology, and they're actually in from last year. So what we might,
I asked him to take those out.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So what we'll do is have a look at that, go into that anyway, and for the purpose of today, we're actually going to be just talking about the questions and what sort of questions we might ask, and make some notes. And at least then you'll be able to know, you'll know where to put them. So, so whilst I'm putting everybody into the discussion group, Cecilia, you might contact. Yep.
Right.
All
yeah,
right.
I'll get that one fixed up. Yeah, it's all, he's already updated it, but he hasn't changed it over because I approved it yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't coming up on our Milo?
Oh, good.
Isn't it coming up on your Milo?
No, it's not on there.
No, I don't have it either.
So what don't you have? You don't have a
collaboration
window?
activity.
Yeah, it's not on the bottom of it.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
Oh, that's unusual.
Oh well, that means that means we'll just have to use a pen and paper and write some questions.
Use a pen and paper, and we'll make sure after this that it is up there, the correct version, and because we've had it updated yesterday, and it will be there this afternoon for you to be able to work with.
Now, Cecilia, can you please make me host, because I can't organise the breakout rooms unless I'm host.
You were host. Did that drop off?
I'm co-host, but I need to be host. So you can actually make me.
So I can.
So I need to be control again, which is
totally control.
Yeah.
Stephen. I'm
looking for the top.
Stephen. Here we are. More. Make host. Yes, I will say yes. Done, Stephen.
Okay. So whilst we're doing, okay, we need to. I think we'll only have 3 rooms, Cecilia.
Yes, that'll be quicker, won't it?
And
is there a quick way to do that or not?
no, there isn't. It'll take me about 3 minutes to do it.
Right.
When we go into the breakout room, Cecilia, do you want us to use the annotation to whiteboard some potential questions? What would you like us to do?
You can, or they can write them on paper.
Sure.
And just talk. As long as people talk and share the questions, keep a note of them, and we will make sure that the collaboration activity and its boards are up there for you later today, so that you can put them in, because they're on ours and everything else we've got there. It's on there. Do you have, can somebody answer me, do you have tutorial resources in your Milo? Underneath the module 1 should be week 1 tutorial resources. Do you have that?
No.
No.
No, I have it either.
No.
I've got tutorial reminders.
No, not tutorial reminders. Tutorial resources. They should be in week 1, directly under module 1, the rapidly changing world. There should be a folder of tutorial resources.
No,
You haven't got, right, I'll find out why
Has
that's.
the unit outline declaration and things like that.
Yep, you've got that. Yep. No, I'll find out why that's not there for you.
We're almost there.
That's perfect. Thanks, Stephen. Are the rooms named or not?
No, so I've just given myself the biggest room, so that's good.
Right.
That's good. And so, Cecilia, you're in breakout room 1. Mel, you're in breakout room 2. So Diploma of Business and Applied Business are in the 1. I'll just
Yep.
Just even them up a bit. Okay. All right. So we'll have the Ag Science and Technology in 1 room.
Yep.
I've got Nicole as SB. Is that small business or is that? I'm just wondering.
Nicole, I think she's applied business.
Small business.
Small business, so yes.
Okay, all right.
So she can come in with us.
Yeah, I'll put, yep. Okay, so anyway, so this is a really just a bit of an open to sort of to see how we go, and I can actually just reallocate people into rooms if need be. So I'll open all the rooms, and we'll see how we go.
Fantastic.
Is there a reason why we're getting a Josh Hayes Cybersecurity has entered the waiting room for this meeting, Stephen?
No, not sure, but I can.
Hi, we're all coming into this room.
Hi.
Now you will need to unmute your mics because you're having a discussion.
Hello.
Hi, so we have 9 people in here. Katrina, Christine, Dylan, Chloe, Jenna, Brendan, Rochelle, and Rhett. And we are thinking about the kind of questions you would like to ask leading business people in the industry discussion panel. What are some of the things you would like to ask them? So just as you think of things, say them. If you decide they're good, jot them down.
So one question that I had was if there had been any major inconveniences to their business or company's life and how they overcame or altered that inconvenience.
Is that in relation to anything?
No, just as a general question.
Just what are the inconveniences or...
Yeah, and how they overcame it.
And how you've overcome them. So inconveniences, challenges, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good question. So can you write that one down on a piece of paper, Brendan?
Yep.
And have it ready and reframe it a little bit and have it ready for putting up later. Can anybody suggest ways he could say that in a clearer kind of way? I think more than the word inconvenience, I would use a word like challenges or external challenges to your business, because you're asking them about, an inconvenience would be, somebody not coming in for a day because they're sick, or the power going off, or somebody cancelling an appointment. They're just little things. And you want to know really more about the bigger things that actually can impact on a business, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Brendan. So somebody else, Christine, what would you like to ask at the industry panel? Yeah.
I was thinking about how do you view the future of work in your industry?
That's a really good one.
And also, what do you consider to be emerging trends in your industry?
Yeah.
And also, what skills and capabilities will be sought after in your industry in the coming, whatever time period?
Yeah.
And then also, not quite sure how to frame it, but I was just thinking based on the question that the statement that Brendan
yeah.
made, what do you consider critical to success?
Yep.
So what, because that could be related to overcoming obstacles as well, I guess.
Yeah. Critical to your business operating success, or?
Yeah, to being a success in whatever the industry happens to be. I guess what are the hallmarks, or what are the behaviours of people who succeed?
Right, that's a better one because it's more specific, isn't it? Yeah. Chloe, what kind of things are going through your mind at the moment?
A lot of things are going through my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
I was just sort of working and reworking, and it would need a little bit more done to it, but I'd be interested to ask, given the current environment, what changes have COVID-19 presented your business for the better? Would be something I'd be interested in.
That would be a really good one, because COVID is the elephant in the room. It's the biggest thing that's impacted on most businesses. Yeah. Are you working at the moment, Chloe?
I am. I'm an executive manager at Qantas.
Right.
Yes.
You've had the biggest lot of the lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Thanks, Chloe. Things along that line would be awesome. Katrina.
Yeah, I was thinking along the lines of Chloe that, how has your business been affected by COVID-19, like whether or not they had to shut down, or whether or not they managed to allow their workers to work from home. I work in the real estate industry, so we've had open shut. We've had to redo everything that, what we're used to doing. Reinvent ourselves as an industry, just to be smarter, to be able to show homes, to be able to work with tenants. It's been, we've had a lot of complications for us, and had to rethink and be a bit more creative in the way we can show properties to people that can't come to Tassie. So from our industry, I can see a lot of changes, but I'd be interested to know, obviously, I've got a lot of friends in business, but it's good to be able to ask perhaps the panel, how their businesses have changed during the...
Because there are things where businesses won't go back.
100%.
So, everything's changed. Jenna, what do you think? They're really good, Katrina.
I was nodding along. I'm in real estate as well, but in Sydney.
Oh, right.
So I know, definitely very challenging. So I would be interested seeing what other industries, what other people have experienced with that around the COVID, and how they've overcome it, and what they think the future of their business looks like. Because everything's changing, nothing's going to stay the same anymore. I know that in my company, we work from home more than we ever used to. So it's interesting to sort of see how that impacts. And something else was what successful leadership has looked like in their industry, whoever is in the panel. So leadership is something that my business is quite strong with. And I've always been interested to hear from other people what successful leadership looks like.
Yeah, that would be really good. Dylan,
Hi.
Now tell me first, the really important thing, what are you watching down there on that screen in the photo?
Oh yes, I've got my profile picture up. That's Germany versus Poland at the Euros in 2016. So
wow,
2 years ago now.
And you were there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I knew it was something pretty special.
Yeah.
Right. So, what kind of questions would you be wanting to ask, Dylan?
I guess one of my key interests is the events industry, and that's where I've been working the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to know how, any thoughts on how that industry might work going forward and what it's going to look like in the coming years post COVID-19, and the different challenges that's going to face the events industry in itself. Because
it's almost on its knees, except for
it
virtual
really is
events.
Yeah. So how even questions like what role government might play, local or state government in kickstarting the events industry again post-COVID. Sort of jotting down a few thoughts anyway.
Yeah, and how to run events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look where you are there.
Exactly.
It was pre-social distancing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for commercially viable, successful big events, that's almost a precursor. So it's, we've got a wicked problem there at the moment to try to solve.
It'll be something that's going to be permanently changed, isn't it? I think.
I think it probably will.
Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good. Rochelle, what would you like to be asking if you could ask questions?
Mine was the exact same as Dylan's, literally. I'm wanting to be in events as well, and I wanted to know how it's going to, after the whole COVID-19, how events are going to be managed with the whole social distancing and how many people can go to events and how to, at the moment in Melbourne, we've got mandatory face masks coming in tomorrow. So how is that going to be able to change, like even just going to a supermarket and all that?
Yeah. It's dramatic differences, isn't it, Rochelle?
Yeah, it is.
How are you finding living in Melbourne at the moment?
It's not too bad.
Yep.
Like the second time's a lot more difficult than the first lockdown we had.
Yeah.
Doing, I've got 3 kids, so doing homeschooling as well and doing appointments online, that can be very difficult.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting as well. Like I actually living in Melbourne as well, but I'm working part-time. I've got a family business, a timber yard. So from tomorrow onwards, I go back to work tomorrow, and just having the mask on for 8 hours, 8 hours at work, trying to serve customers at the same time. It's going to be very interesting.
And you can barely breathe in the face mask.
Yeah, so it is. It's very, very different. Right. Rhett, we haven't had a talk to you. Rhett, can you unmute your mic? That's right. Now, what are you thinking? Hello, Rhett. Can you say hi to us? Your mic's unmuted, but we can't hear you.
He sent a message to say.
Oh, sorry, my mic isn't currently working. Right. That's okay. Just you will need to type up a question, Rhett, that you've been thinking of. Can you please get your mic fixed? For these tutorials, you really need a mic and a camera because we need to be able to see you in discussions. It enhances the ability for us to discuss things well, and you need your mic to be able to contribute and for us to know what's happening. So I'll keep an eye out, Rhett, for when you put up your question. Now we might have a talk about, have you thought of any additional questions or other things you would like to do with this industry panel? The panel will speak for about an hour. And we usually have about 5 people on the panel. And so we will get the questions up on the collaboration activity under your different things. So there'll be an applied business Padlet wall there that you can start putting questions up, but you can look through the questions on the other Padlet walls for technology and for science and for agriculture, and make adjustments to those as well. And also to vote for the ones that are good, because quite often people will ask common things like, I think it was Christine or was it Chloe that talked about the skill sets that people are looking for and the transferable skills that people want in their leading people in their industry. So those are the kind of things that go right across all industries. So you might see good questions in other Padlet walls that you want to vote for. Has anybody thought of any additional kind of questions that they would like to ask about?
Rhett's typed one in.
Rhett, how do you expect COVID to permanently affect your business? That's a really good one, Rhett, because everyone will be looking at that. And we've already had Katrina and Jenna talking about some of the ways their industry has changed probably forever. And even what we are doing now has changed at the university. I'm sitting at home doing this tutorial, and prior to March, I was at work every day. I had lecture rooms and tutorial rooms and breakouts. We often did do online sessions, but often they were from one campus to another campus. So we were sharing in that way, and we could actually see our students face to face and talk and do things. Whereas at the moment, we're all pretty short, but it is a wonderful opportunity and time for people to upskill so that they can be more flexible in what they can do in the future. Are any of you thinking of going into different kind of work in the future from what you're doing now? Are you planning to get your qualifications? You've all booked, you've all enrolled to do study. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you're hoping that it will give you different kind of work in the future, or are you doing it just to improve where you're and you want to stay where you're at? Does anybody want to talk about that? Because that might help us get to the next questions.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, thanks, Jenna.
No, I decided to do this to try and figure out what I want to do next, because I don't want to stay doing what I'm doing forever. So it's more of a spend 6 months studying whilst working, see where it leads me, see what I take an interest in and what that might lead into. I've always had an interest in law and legislation, and as well as real estate and interiors. I've already studied interior design, decided I don't want to do that.
Right.
So looking at where I do want to go, do I want to go into management? Do I want to set up something? Do I want to go into a law practice? I don't know. And I guess that's sort of figure out where next.
That's awesome. Yeah, a really good way to use this time of great change. And you're keeping yourself so busy working full-time and studying full-time to get there.
Yeah. Well, I'm working from home 2 days a week, so I save a bit of travel time and that. So I thought, well, I may as well put it to good use.
Awesome. Yeah. Katrina, what are you hoping you'll study?
Well, no, I'm going to stay in industry. I've been in it 16 years. But it's just to really improve my toolkit and my life skills and 2 kids doing grade 11 and 12 who really don't know what to do at the moment with COVID. So it's kind of to have a bit of direction for them and know a bit more about uni life and uni study too.
That's a really good thing. And year 11 and 12, if this is a great modeling thing for them, if you're studying and doing things, you are supporting them to do the same, aren't you?
Trying to,
yeah. Very good. Dylan, you've talked a little bit. You've got your
video back on
business, you've got your video, you've got your 2 businesses, you've worked in events, and you've also worked in timber, isn't it?
Timber industry it is,
Yeah. So which part of the timber industry?
We're not wholesale, so we bring in a lot of different species from all around the world, really.
Yeah.
on sites. I'll get a lot of customers that'll come in for projects around the house or whatever. I get staircase manufacturers and all that, you know, cabinet makers, everything like that. So essentially supply the timber for jobs. So
and there's a real resurgence in people wanting beautiful timbers in their home,
a
aren't
little
they?
bit, yeah. Probably did die off a little bit, maybe 10, 15 years or so, but there is back up. So and actually business is doing all right considering the current climate with coronavirus and everything. So but personally I really enjoy the events industry, and I was working in London until about 4 months ago. So
at least you got home before it was too expensive and too horrible.
Yeah, that's it. I sort of got in just before the hotel quarantine stage. So so my ambition is probably to get into to stay in the events work. So I'm able to come back and work at Matthews Timber for the moment, but long term I want to get into the events work and perhaps more management side of things.
It will come back.
Doing.
It will come back. So I've written that down here. We'll try to get an events person to come along to this thing. We'll see what happens. I'll be able to let you know that in the next week or so. So we will be going back. We'll leave the room and go back to the main room in a second. So the take-home things for you this week are to do your engagement tasks, to start doing research for your assessment task 1, and to create some questions to go on this collaboration activity. So I'll press leave room now and see if we get back.
Thank you.
Leave breakout room. Oh, here you come. For a moment, it looked like I was the only person there. We've only got 3. Maybe the others have gone. We'll see what happens. So where are you located, Katrina?
I'm in Hobart.
You're in Hobart. And Christine, where are you?
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah.
And Dylan, you're in which?
I'm Melbourne.
You're Melbourne, I thought you were, yeah. Yeah, they take a little while to come back sometimes. Well, it's us, but I don't see the others coming. You are free to go if you want to, because I don't know whether the others are coming back.
I have to join a work meeting at midday, so
yes, so
I'm
you
going
can
to sign off. But
yes.
thank
Oh,
you.
here they come. They're all coming back, but you can.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cecilia, we were
That's right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we were just getting lots of questions coming up, and so it was really good.
Yeah, there were some great questions. Yeah. So is everyone back?
I think a few people might have dropped off.
Yeah, I've had a couple who have had to go to 12 o'clock meetings. So
yeah, so our breakout room 2 is still going.
Oh, are
That's
they?
why.
Can we bring them back in?
Yeah, they're coming. They'll be back in 22 seconds. I can't do it immediately, but
no, I know they take a little while to come through, don't they?
Yeah. It automatically closes, so that's okay.
Yeah. Are you on the Gold Coast, Josh?
I am, yes.
Yeah, it looks a lovely day up there.
Oh, that's just my screen thing.
I know it is. I know.
Hi. Oh, we were on a roll, Cecilia.
I know. It was very hard to come back, but
yeah. But my group, we quickly started typing in on the whiteboard, so I can also, I've took a screenshot of that, so I'll also throw that your way, Cecilia,
right?
That particular group.
Right. Excellent. We can put that up in the activities too and get things rolling along. Right. Well, we're going to say goodbye to you. Have you got any final words, Stephen?
No, I've just about run out of words. I think we've we've done well. It's been a really and as I said to my group, it's in that last section was it's great when people when you do speak up, because it actually makes our job easier.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's yeah, and it keeps everything moving. So it's great because we learn from all of you just as much as the other way. So
yeah, and we've are able to, from your feedback, we've identified some of the glitches, technical glitches that we need to get fixed up for next time for you, just to find out why some things aren't sharing the way they should and different things.
Just to answer Josh's question, and for others that may be asking the same question, you're only asked to come to one tutorial. So we offer multiple tutorial times for those depending on when they're available. So per week, it's only one. If you want to join in for the second one, you'll just be repeating. But it's
yeah. And I will be sending you out a doodle poll to join just short, very small groups of no more than 4 students on Monday, just so that I can get to know you, what you're doing, where you are, what you're at, and answer any questions. So it'll be no more than 15 minutes, but that is being prepared at the moment. It will be up by tomorrow, and you can log into a time between 7 o'clock in the morning and about 8 o'clock at night and select a time that would suit you just to have a quick talk. That way we will know and understand a lot more about what your needs are, and we can help you satisfy those. Yes,
Cecilia, Lyndall's just asked, should you try to stay in the same tute time, or is it okay to swap it around?
Quite a lot of most people seem to stay in the same one because that suits them. But if you've got changing circumstances, you can certainly come to either, because both of them will cover the same material. And we have been recording the tutorial, so this will be uploaded onto Milo as well. So you'll have a chance to revisit some of the stuff from it if you're not sure. And we will also upload Mel's PowerPoint, and we'll make sure that the tutorial resources are open so that you can all access them. Right, so thank you. You may go to lunch now and have a good day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
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 It's my group. You did really well.